Well, I'm a photographer based in Yorkshire, and much of my photographic work over the last couple of decades has looked at the connections between communities in Yorkshire and places overseas. So, for example, it might be the Pakistani community in Bradford, or then I've been to Pakistan, or it might be the Yemeni community in Sheffield and I've been to Yemen. So that's been my main interest really, is making connections between here and there. Well, I'd worked with Jane Sellers at the Mercer Art Gallery on quite a number of occasions, and I was invited to put forward some ideas about Harrogate. And I thought, well, where is Harrogate connected with? And I was sitting having a cup of tea one day and I noticed the tea bag had Tailors of Harrogate on it. So I looked at the history of the tea industry, and it's a fascinating story. And myself and Jane from the Mercer, went to Tailors and said, well, we're interested in doing some kind of project about the tea industry. And they said, well, what about Rwanda? And I said, well, what about Rwanda? And we took it from there. Well, most of the tea that goes into Yorkshire tea is actually grown in Rwanda in Central Africa, on the slopes of these mountains down in the southwest of the country on the border with Congo and Burundi. These estates are huge, so there's tens of thousands of people that rely on tea for their livelihood. Tailors of Harrogate are working with the Rwandan tea farmers and the British government's international development agency on issues of sustainable agriculture and tree planting and so on, which will protect the environment of both the tea estates themselves and the tropical rainforest that borders the tea estates, which is extremely valuable, not just for the tea farmers and the tea estates themselves, but as that rainforest provides most of the water for the rest of Rwanda, it is of huge importance to the whole of the country itself. And these women here are taking young tree saplings out from the tree nurseries to plant as windbreaks amidst the tea plantations, which also serves the purposes when they're mature. The wood then gets used as fuel for the tea factories and for the thousands of people that live on the tea estates themselves. So these women have spent the morning picking tea in the pouring rain and they've come to the weighing station where they're having their morning's work weighed. And obviously it's a good thing for them if the quality of the tea goes up, because they get a better price for their tea, they can sell more tea, and the economy of these areas is pretty much 100% reliant on the tea industry. Well, this photograph was taken at Lake Kivu, which is the border between Rwanda on this side and Congo over here. And this was a place where during 1994, when the awful events of genocide were unfolding, a lot of bodies were dumped into this lake. And people from the tea industry gather each year for a memorial service for those that lost their lives. The British perception of Rwanda is the kind of dark heart of Africa and so on. And yes, the events of 1994 do cast a kind of shadow over people's lives. You know, it's all part of living memory, if you like. But Rwanda is a beautiful country. It's full of hospitable people, and it is making extraordinary strides forwards in terms of development and so on. I've travelled a fair bit in Africa, and I was really hugely impressed with how things work there, and the tea industry is an important part of that development process. You know, it's their biggest export earner. As the head of the Rwandan Tea Authority kind of said to me, if people are busy and they're making a living, then they're getting on with their lives rather than talking about bad things. Travelling through Rwanda was an extraordinary experience for me, and it really changed my preconceptions of the country, and hopefully people that visit the exhibition in Skipton, it will change their ideas about what Rwanda is and who Rwandan people are.
Can you play the violin so I can